Welcome to World Domination. Disclaimer, the views expressed in this episode are for comedic effect. They should not be taken as advice, as opinions held by the people saying them, or before bedtime. No whales were harmed in the making of this production, though I can assure you one of them certainly thought about it.
What are we doing tonight?
The same thing we do every night. Try and take over the world.
Are you guys sure you know what you're doing?
Welcome to World Domination. I'm your host, General Atmosphere.
You're welcome, world.
I am your host, Ken.
And I'm your host, Emma.
How are we today, everyone?
Feeling great. You know, it's been a nice and easy, relaxing day for me actually, working from home. So
Oh, you work from home today? Lucky
yeah,
you.
nice and easy, relaxing day. How was everybody else's?
Hectic.
Busy today. I also did yoga today.
Oh,
Yes.
so you're nice and limber.
Yeah, the office had a lunchtime yoga, and I decided to join in.
Did many people show up to your work lunchtime yoga?
Yes, about 9 people. It's not mine. I don't instruct it. That would be bad.
Just be careful, Ken. A militant yoga class features quite prominently later in the show.
What? Militant? What?
What is
that part of
happening?
your plan?
No, that's like a real example.
Oh,
Like
geez.
one of the real examples is a militant yoga class.
Well, alrighty then.
No
Well,
spoilers, guys. Well, you guys will hear it when you hear it.
So today we're talking about chemical weapons, following on from last week where we talked about biological weapons. We thought we might, again, disclaimer, when we're talking about chemical weapons, we're mostly talking about airborne gases, but that's not, strictly speaking, the only thing that we'd be talking about.
we like to live dangerously. We'll be talking about whatever comes up, really.
So should we get into some real world examples?
Let's do it.
Okay. So I feel like there's a lot of people might have, or they thought about, or they tried to when you're talking about chemical weapons before about 1850. And before that, there's a lot of historians think that somebody might have, put a gopher head inside a shell and put boron and all of these weird things.
No, I'm sorry,
that,
no, I don't know. Keep going.
all of these weird things that don't turn out to have are very unlikely to have happened.
I don't know. It was a weird time when we didn't have the internet. It's a weird time with the internet too, so you can only imagine what people got up to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was so successful in taking over the world that no one wrote about it in history, and everyone's dead.
Well,
Yeah.
stuffing boar heads.
Exactly.
Yeah, righto.
Most of chemical warfare, it didn't start there, but the big one that everybody knows about where it really kicked off was World War One. And a lot of this has to do with one man who went by the name of Fritz Haber.
What a dick.
So the two of you, I want you to picture an evil German person from a movie. Have you got that picture in your mind?
Yep.
Now click on the link to the Haber process.
Oh my god, he's more evil than I imagined.
For those who aren't in front of our links and that sort of thing, basically, I'm sure you're all picturing small glasses.
Bald.
Weird little bald, a little weird mustache.
Tiny moustache.
And you would have been 100% correct, because that is exactly what this guy looks like. Except these glasses don't have arms on them. It's basically two monocles connected with a rainbow bridge.
Oh my god.
But yeah, he was responsible for inventing what's called the Haber-Bosch process, which is a way of getting nitrogen out of the air, and then you can use that for all sorts of things. The main thing we use it for now is to make fertilizer, but what you could also use is to make explosives. And so the Germans, who had no natural deposits of the chemicals that you need to make explosives, could suddenly make all of the explosives they want artificially.
Mwahahahaha.
And he also invented chlorine gas, which, was also used on the battlefield of World War One.
Yeah, because I think with the fertilization and that sort of thing, knowing kind of what he's sort of helped with, I think because of him, it's caused mass world overpopulation.
Are you saying he's trying to balance things out a little bit?
No, but I'm kind of just thinking, I feel like so many terrible, disastrous things happened in the wars with these people coming up with different ways to harm other countries and other people and just cause devastation. And then it's kind of like the war finishes and then people are like, so, we've got this technology. How do we use it for good now? And it's just what a different place it would be if people just had these thoughts and used them for good to start with. What a different world we could be living in.
Maybe good people aren't very ambitious. That's why.
But yeah, so he invented the Haber process, which let the Germans make, a whole lot of like conventional explosives. He also invented chlorine gas. So don't know how much anyone else knows about World War One. It's a trench war, which means both sides were kind of at a stalemate. Neither really moved for the majority of the war. All of the men were in trenches up and down France, and one of the weapons that they tried to use to like break through the other side's trenches were chemical weapons, gases. Gases are a strange choice of weapon to use because your army isn't moving anywhere. So if the wind changes, it can blow the gases right back onto your army.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've fought it before. I've experienced this.
Yes, we've all experienced that, Ken.
Have we? Some of us are ladies.
Girls don't fart.
The French were the first to use gases, but like, let's not point fingers here. Both sides did some bad things. The French were technically the first ones to use it. Both sides used it throughout the war.
Yeah, look, I think gas, when you're sort of in trenches out in the air, probably not a great idea.
Yeah.
Like,
especially seeing as the first gas that they used like in big numbers, like as a weapon rather than just like the first one they used was tear gas. That's more of a riot control thing than a weapon.
yeah, I mean, because even wondering like if it's raining, are they then just like, well, I can't use that today?
But like the first one they used was chlorine gas, which smells like pepper and pineapple. And like, I don't know how much you know about France in the 1910s, but pineapple was not particularly common.
Oh, so it was very obvious.
It was very obvious.
That smells fancy. What's going
It's
on
also
over there?
like a very obvious green cloud floating towards you over the battlefield. But yeah, so it's easy to spot. It's relatively easy to protect against if you have a gas mask. And so they didn't use that for very long. They switched up to a different type of gas called phosgene, which is very easy to make, colorless, smells faintly like hay, which, again, don't know how much you know about France in the 1910s. The horse population had kind of peaked.
So hay was pretty common. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it doesn't always kill immediately, which means fairly innocuous and can take a fair while to take effect.
You'd assume, like, over the, like, was it 24 hours or whatever it is, that they would kind of start to go downhill, so surely they would know.
Yeah, you'd realise, but like by then all the gas is dispersed.
I feel like there's a bit of kindness in that, though. Giving them some time to, finish off their affairs, sort of just get things together, say goodbye to people.
Or go to the hospital.
Dearest Millicent, I made the mistake of breathing today. Send my best wishes to Mother.
I smelled the hay.
But the really bad one they used was mustard gas. It's named mustard gas, funnily enough, because it smells like mustard.
Wow, there.
No way.
Yeah.
Clever people there.
But the other two, you really need to breathe them in for them to do a lot of damage, or get them in your eyes sometimes. But mustard, it could work through the skin, which means it was really effective at clearing out a trench because you couldn't just sit there in your gas mask. If you got it on your skin, it horribly burned you.
Does it go through clothing and on that sort of thing? Like if they packed on...
Well, like remember, like the peak of clothing technology at the time was wool.
Yeah, I mean...
Actually, wool's still the peak of our technology right now, isn't it?
Wool's pretty great.
Is it though? It's pretty great.
You're speaking to a Kiwi here, right? So, we love our wool. If just say you put on a few layers of wool, surely that would kind of help. I'm just
it would probably help, but I doubt it's like a permanent.
It's not really going to help. Yeah, for
a
few moments.
Totally stop it, I would imagine.
So you wouldn't have enough time to write a letter to Millicent, but you'd have enough time to know that something was going on. I guess moving on to the next war, kind of with Agent Orange in the Vietnam War and that.
There are at least 3 wars in between there.
Look, I meant the next war that we're talking.
Okay.
Look, I know.
I can think of one big one in particular where they kind of just iterated the number by 1.
That'd possibly be World War II. But yeah, in the Vietnam War and Agent Orange, used by the US initially for deforestation to kind of get rid of all the forest cover and food resources and things like that. So I guess it's kind of a clever idea in that regard. But I mean, the amount of like long-term effects, I think, was it only a few years ago that they were still doing blood tests and that sort of thing. And children are like born afterwards are still having dioxin still present in their blood samples and that sort of thing. Like,
yeah, it's some wicked nasty shit. Like
It's just insane.
They sprayed 20% of Vietnam's forests with Agent Orange. They used 20 million gallons of herbicides.
Ooh.
It's just insane.
That's 60 million litres.
This is the whole point. You know, when you're in war, you're kind of just thinking of the quickest way to get to the end result that you're looking for. But, you know, and I mean, at the time, you're not really thinking about what the long-term after effects are going to be. But I think the fact that there's still children born today that still have the toxicity in their blood, like, it's just crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's some horrible long-term consequences.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm finding it a little bit harder to be upbeat in this episode.
Maybe when we get into our movies, we'll be able to be a little bit more upbeat.
Yeah. Not to say that I'm being upbeat with this next one, but we're almost back into the point where we've got cool, like, Japanese translated names again in the next bit.
They do know a good name.
They do know a good name. So, I don't know how much you guys know about the next one on our list, but have you heard of a Japanese death cult called Om Shinrikyo?
No, never heard of them.
Doing my research, yes, I have now, but I hadn't before.
Yep, same.
They started as a yoga class.
Ken, is this what's happening?
Oh,
Ken,
that's
come
what
on,
Jim was
mate.
talking about. Damn it, you're giving away our secrets.
Yeah, so Om Shinrikyo started as a yoga class and developed into a death cult.
As most yoga classes do.
As you know, they're prone to that.
I should probably
And
quit
they're
mine.
just, I used to think they were a
I'd
peaceful
advise that.
bunch.
And you know, the person who led them was crazy.
Clearly.
What they're most well known for is they had a chemical production plant where they made a neurotoxin called sarin gas.
Ew.
And sarin gas is a clear liquid when you store it, but when it reacts with oxygen, it turns into this like gas that turns off the way that your muscles communicate with your brain. So all of your muscles stop working,
Right.
including your heart and lung muscles, which is how you die.
That sounds fucking terrifying.
Yeah, it's horrible. And what they did was, I can't remember exactly how many, but a bunch of the members of this cult got onto Tokyo subway trains with a little plastic bag of liquid sarin wrapped in newspaper, and they had sharpened umbrellas, and then they waited until peak hour. They waited until the train came to one of the stations. Just as the doors were about to close, they punctured the bag with the points of their umbrellas and then got off the train.
Bastards.
And then all of the gas escaped into the train between the stops, and hundreds of people got injured, and something like, I don't know how many people died, but a few people died.
Killed 12 people and injured 50.
That's just insane. Because you've all, I'm sure we've all seen, yeah, I'm sure we've all seen those videos of what peak hour in Japan is like, just shoving people onto the train. So you can only imagine how many people would have been in the vicinity.
Yeah. But here's where we might be able to get a little bit lighthearted. So,
Yay.
Om Shinrikyo bought a property in Western Australia in the 80s.
Ooh.
Bloody Western Australia.
Yeah. So I learned this from Bill Bryson's book called Down Under. It's a fantastic book. You should read it. But there's a part where he talks about how Om Shinrikyo bought this property in Western Australia in the late 80s, where they used to like test the methods that they were used in, later attacks, because it was in the middle of nowhere and nobody really gave a shit because there was no one for 1,000 miles around.
The 80s. It was a wild
Western
time.
Australia.
But here's another interesting bit. There was a spike in seismology readings in Western Australia at about the time that these guys were down there, and there was no recorded. It didn't match the signature for an earthquake, and so that nobody had any idea where this like spike in the seismology readings had come from.
Ooh.
It's possible it could be it could have been like an airburst asteroid, like an asteroid that went into the atmosphere and exploded before it hit the ground, because there was no crater that they could see.
Yeah.
But it's also possible Om Shinrikyo at the time had 2 Soviet nuclear physicists who had defected from the Soviet Union at this base. It's possible that they detonated a nuclear weapon and nobody ever knew about it.
Holy crap.
Would nobody know about it?
Because it was in the middle of nowhere and they didn't notice this seismology.
Yeah, but surely there would have been some sort of traces of it afterwards.
Surely it would be, but like, as far as I know, nobody knows for sure.
Damn. Yoga classes are hectic.
Yeah, they could have done it underground. They could have done it anywhere. Nobody really knows.
Right, okay.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's
That's
fucking mental.
That's so scary.
Yeah,
Like, there could still be, like, a nuke in Western Australia and we wouldn't have a clue.
yeah.
Ooh.
No,
Although,
sure,
to be fair,
no,
it's
sure.
Western Australia, so like you could blow up half the thing and nobody would notice.
Oh, God. Sorry, Western Australia.
Sorry, not sorry. Don't care.
So you dick on Melbourne, and then now you dick on Western
We're
Australia.
making our way through the states and territories.
Whittling down our audience. I got some thoughts on Tasmania. You fuckers are going to hear them.
Tune in next time.
Oh, yeah, for the next one, another cool name, the monster with 21 faces. Another,
yes.
Another Japanese case.
Why is it always the Japanese?
They're very poetic people.
So tell us about this, Ken.
Oh, yes. So, it started off with some letters, right? These people sent some letters to some big candy companies. One,
Glyco?
Glyco?
Yeah, they're the ones that
Yeah.
make Pocky.
Yes, they're the yes, best known for
course you
the
would know,
chocolate-covered pretzel sticks, Pocky. Also, Pretz are the just pretzel sticks, but they're also very delicious. Anyway, back to
Available at any.
Pocky. Sponsor me, please.
Glyco, if you're listening, yeah. We will accept cash.
Or Pocky.
Oh, yeah.
Both.
Yes.
Preference.
Back in the day, the monster with 21 faces sent them a letter telling them that they've poisoned $21 million worth of candy with potassium cyanide, which is highly lethal.
They really are monsters.
So the company took $20 million worth of stock off the shelves of supermarkets and everything, and lost a lot of money. They had to fire 450 people.
I think, like, from what I know about this one, I think the Japanese, at least the Japanese people, they kind of understood. Like, they didn't begrudge the company. They were clearly like, well, these guys are just dickheads.
Yep.
They didn't. I don't think they really blamed the company, in as much as like Pocky is still a thing that you can buy. They didn't go completely bankrupt from this.
But I mean, the other thing I know is that when the police were like sort of helping with the investigation and trying to raid and stuff, the boxes that were contaminated actually said danger contains toxins on it.
Oh.
So like
At first they did.
like,
Actually,
kind of like,
that's
hey, they're doing some bad stuff, so maybe we should wrong them. And then like, oh, by the way, this box contains toxins. Like, okay.
And the thing I like about this is nobody's entirely sure why they did it.
Shits and giggles.
Yeah, no.
Like they did blackmail the company. But, and this is where we get another cool name comes in here. They arranged like, you know, a deposit point for the ransom. Nobody came and picked it up, but there was one person who kind of watched the police and just kind of laughed at them from a distance. And the only name we know them by is the Fox-Eyed Man.
Ah,
That's my kind of guy.
that's a bit mean.
But wasn't it also the head of the police force at the time? I think his name was Yamamoto.
Yep.
And he committed suicide because he couldn't find them. And then they sent a letter being like, well, you know, he was a good man and he basically shouldn't have. And then they were never heard from again.
Yeah.
It's just what they were trying to do. It's just they were
It's
clearly
possible
high
this
on
was
something.
just like a prank that went like...
Went
I mean,
wrong.
like, it's not a prank because they actually did put cyanide in the
Yeah,
candy.
no. Yeah, the first one, I like the first letter. We're not too sure. Like the $21 million worth of candy. We're not sure if they actually put potassium cyanide in. But the next time they did it, they sent a letter to Morinaga, another candy company, and that's the one where they actually went to the city stores and they found like 21 packets of poison products.
Was there any reported cases of it actually getting to consumers? Or was it all found?
They found it in shops.
Yeah.
So the way they would do it is so that they wouldn't know which shipments were being contaminated. Somebody would actually go into the store and leave packets of the candy on the shelf.
Okay.
That was how they distributed it.
Yeah.
Reverse shoplifting.
There's a security video of one person doing it, and that's the only direct evidence they have of these people.
Yeah. Okay. But we don't know whether it's actually anybody actually ate it and died from it or
I
anything.
don't think so.
Yeah, here's the thing. They said when the first letter came out to Glyco, they said it's $21 million worth of candy. And then in the letter to Morinaga, they after threatening them, they actually did find 21 boxes of the stuff. So I'm thinking maybe there was only
God, that's
21?
expensive Pocky.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I think that's why they're called monster with 21 faces as well. You know, 21's their
They
key
just really
number.
liked. They just really liked that number. Should we move on to the lighter?
The dominating
The
rating?
dominating rating.
Let's move to the fictional world and pretend
The
it's not
fictional
real.
world.
Yay!
Where it's okay to laugh a little bit. Because no one actually died for realsies. So the first one on our list is Batman. Just Batman from 1989. Known for its very famous rubber suit in which Michael Keaton couldn't turn his head and so had to like swivel on the spot in order to look around. The plot of this movie is the Joker, played by Jack Nicholson.
He's a great Joker.
He is a pretty good Joker. It's interesting to watch how the Joker has changed in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson's Joker is kind of the last iteration of just like, wacky gangster Joker.
Yeah.
And since then he's kind of moved into like hot topic gangster.
Yeah, once you get into your Heath Ledger and stuff like that, there's just absolute psycho. Whereas I think with Jack Nicholson, you still got that little bit of like the comic book side to it.
It's still a tiny bit wacky.
Yeah.
Is he the guy from The Shining?
Yes.
Ah.
Ken, please tell me that you've seen Batman.
I watched the Mr. Freeze movie.
Oh god.
Oh,
no. Oh, you poor child.
I watched that like multiple
My
times.
soul
I
just
didn't-
died
I
a little
didn't
bit.
realize there was one before that until today.
Oh my god! Until today. Oh
Ken.
my god!
You poor child.
I liked it. There was Poison Ivy in that one.
That movie's so
That's so shit.
But Poison Ivy.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, God. Oh, wow. Flashbacks. Oh my god. It's like I'm watching the movie all over again.
So Joker's plan is he puts poison in makeup and other kind of like chemical products that like people put on them or in them, and so people have to like stop buying those products because he wants everyone to be. What does he say? He wants people to be as ugly as he is.
Yeah, something like
Is that his something like that? He wants people to like not put chemicals or not put shit all over their faces.
Because look what happened to him when he did it.
Yeah.
It bleached his skin.
I really like the attention to detail that he plays. Like, as the movie goes on, you can see, like, the news anchors that show up throughout the movie.
Yeah.
They run out of makeup, and so their appearance gets, like, worse and worse as the movie goes on.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It's actually a fantastic film.
Yeah.
It's actually really good. So I guess back to his plan and that sort of thing. So I think as well there was I don't know if it was Thanksgiving Day or something like that, but there was a big parade at the end of it. And basically, if anybody's ever seen the parade that they have in New York for Thanksgiving Day with all the huge the balloons and all that kind of stuff, the floats and stuff like that. Like, it's essentially, if you picture that, for those people like Ken who unfortunately haven't actually seen this movie.
Thank you.
My soul. But yeah, so I think he basically the plan was that there was a lot of the poison in there as well. So during obviously huge crowds and that sort of thing, Batman had to come and save the day. Really.
Yeah.
Thanks, Batman.
So overall, I think it was a great plan. Except Batman was just too good.
Yeah. What do you think of his plan of like putting poison in the makeup though?
If we go back to year 12 when you're talking about like studying, I actually think it's quite clever.
Yeah.
I think
Would it work today though, or would people be like, I only use naturally sourced organic makeup?
Oh, I'm sorry. If you poisoned bloody Kylie Jenner's makeup, like any of the Kardashians or the Jenners or whatever, all their makeup, if you poisoned any of that, you would get so many people. That stuff is sold out in seconds.
Jack Nicholson, if you're listening.
There's still time.
Don't give him ideas.
So, thumbs up, thumbs down for 1989's Batman, starring Michael Keaton.
I wish I had more hands so that I could give it more thumbs up.
Based on what I've heard, thumbs up.
Yeah, it's a fun, creative plan for like a wacky villain like the Joker to use. So thumbs up. That's fine.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if it was released today, probably not as good. But I just think, it's great. Look, I'm not.
I mean, thematically, it's pretty
talking about
cool. If he wants people to be as ugly as him and then he puts it in makeup, like, come on, that's like, two birds, one stone. You mess up their makeup supply and you also poison them.
Yeah, see, if everybody's just ugly, then nobody cares about what they look like anymore. Do you know how much time I would save in the morning?
So the next one on our list is another Batman movie. Personal opinion, which one is better or worse, but this one is Batman Begins, which, loosely based on a comic book called Batman Year One.
Good comic.
This was the one where Christian Bale plays Batman, right?
Yeah, this is the first one with him in it.
Ken, have you seen this movie?
I have, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I've seen all three of them for this one.
Actually going to question our friendship then.
Good.
All right, we shall continue.
We shall continue.
So Batman Begins basically is the start. It's the first one in the Nolan trilogy. For these. So I guess there's two kind of things in here that are kind of, from, I guess, from a chemical warfare thing, but you've got the introduction of Scarecrow. Basically, he's a doctor, and he comes up with this, basically a fear toxin that he sprays in people's faces, puts on this like really scary mask, and it basically puts people onto a massive trip. And they just have like this absolute nightmare, and they have no idea what they're looking at, what's real, what's not, and it's just absolutely super dark and that sort of thing. And so he's a nut job. But I guess the other thing is the giant microwave that gets put into... So I can't actually remember exactly what the microwave was supposed to do, but I know that it was put onto the train and it was going straight into the center of Gotham City, and it was going to... destroy everything or whatever.
Wasn't that the one to evaporate the water?
Yeah, so
that's right, yeah.
Liam Neeson plays Ra's al Ghul,
yeah.
Who's, in the comics, he's like a weird zombie Dracula kind of...
immortal kind of thing.
1,000-year-old wizard kind of guy.
Yeah.
But in this movie, it's just Liam Neeson.
It's just basically picture taken and then it's him.
I say just Liam Neeson, but he could still kill me with a napkin.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson is the head of this order called, was it the League of Shadows?
League of Shadows, yeah.
Yeah. And there's this flower that grows near their base that causes you to have like fear hallucinations. And so they weaponize that and they give it to Scarecrow to like...
Wait, there was a backstory to that?
Yeah.
Huh.
But then they pump it into Gotham's water supply, and then they have this plan where they steal a giant microwave from
Wayne Industries.
Wayne Industries, yeah. And then they put it on a train, and then they drive through the city on the train, just blowing up all the water pipes, all the gas escapes into the air.
That's it.
Which, not to point a flaw in the plan, but if you had a microwave that big and you were standing next to it, you would also be dead because all the water in you would then evaporate.
Yeah, look. And also, fun fact for any Game of Thrones fans out there, little Joffrey is in there too.
Oh.
He plays scared child on the street.
Oh, that's right.
I'd totally forgotten that. I haven't seen it again, but like I haven't seen it in a while, but I'd totally forgotten that they were actually like linked, and it was Ra's al Ghul that kind of led to Scarecrow creating his thing.
Yeah,
I've just seen, honestly, I feel like I've just seen so many different Batman films, different comics, different, like even the Gotham TV show and that sort of thing. So it all starts, because there's so many different storylines and things, you start to like mix them all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do we rate Batman Begins?
Ooh, too elaborate for something. Yeah.
It's so elaborate. Like, there's so many pieces that could go wrong.
Mm-hmm. Like,
Yeah.
can't you just stick like the fear agent in like an aerator or something and just, you know?
Yeah, couldn't you just fly it over the city in a plane?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the sheer amount of energy that you would need to vaporize all of that water. The box is, like, the microwave is about the size of the car. You need, like, a nuclear reactor in there to provide that much electricity.
Yeah, why don't you just like nuke everyone? Like,
Yeah.
like.
Well, like, the plan of the movie, again, it's a dumb plan. Like, Liam Neeson's plan is to, like, we're going to destroy Gotham from the inside. That was a terrible Liam Neeson impression. Don't let me do that again.
No, please continue. More.
You know, he's like, Gotham had become too decadent. There's like too decadent. There's like 50% of the characters we see in this movie are homeless people.
We've been through this before. They're always the first to go.
The poor street urchins.
Yeah.
So yeah, thumbs down for the plan. Entertaining movie.
Yeah, very entertaining movie.
No, you know what? I disagree. I'm giving it a thumbs up from me.
Really?
Yeah. You know what? We don't always have to agree on everything, and I think it's a thumbs up. I think elaborate plans, they've clearly thought about it. Bloody Ra's al Ghul is just, I liked it.
I don't know.
Oh,
okay. Christopher Nolan just overcomplicates things. Like if he stopped at the Scarecrow toxin, that's a good plan. Letting the city tear itself apart with a fear toxin, but all of the weird, like, you know, we've got to pump all of it into the water supply, and then we've got to get a microwave thing on the train, and then we've got to drive the train. You know, like, it's all too much.
No.
to be fair, he got someone else to do it.
What?
He he got like Scarecrow to do a lot of it. So
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, he delegated. So he gets some points there.
Effective leadership, yes.
But yeah, very elaborate. Not my kind of thing.
So next one is Wonder Woman.
Cool. So this one, the 2017 live action version of this movie. For those that haven't seen it, I guess a kind of brief overview. Flashes back to kind of when Diana's young and she's first sort of training and that sort of thing, and she's always wanting to get off the island and do what she can for the world. They are protecting the island from Ares, the god of war. So he's basically their like arch nemesis that, you know, they've trapped him away. He can't cause any more harm. So there's this prophecy that Ares will rise again. So they're all kind of trying to prepare themselves for it. So it's set in the time, I think World War One is happening at the same time, and they're in this mystical island, and there is this pilot that kind of flies through, because once you get close enough, you can actually break through to their barrier. So she kind of has this world and falls in love with this pilot. Then finds out that World War One is actually happening, and obviously her first instinct is that, oh my god, Ares is back. So what she helps this pilot, what's his name? Steve Taylor, I think was his name. Steve.
He's American. His name's probably Steve.
Good old Steve.
Steve Trevor. So very strong American name. Anyway, so she travels back to London with him, and he is looking for... There is a chemist called Dr. Isabel Maru, which is, I think, in the comics as well as Dr. Poison. But essentially, she's basically trying to attempt to engineer a deadlier version of the mustard gas, which we were talking about before, as part of the war. So they go and they steal her notebook and everything like that, and it's just, I guess, kind of just keeps going through that. Really,
like, I wish the movie had stopped there. Wonder Woman takes a weird turn in the last third, and our unofficial rule is we don't talk about the like major spoilers for movies if they've come out within the last 5 years. But that movie ends so weirdly.
It really does.
Like the plot about them like trying to stop, you know, the production of like an even worse poison gas in World War One is, you know, that's not a bad plot. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Poison's plan to like kill people with an even deadlier nerve gas, or like even deadlier poison gas, you know, par for the course for World War One.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. I think that's what I liked about it. I think that it kind of, I mean, it's obviously not real, but like it kind of added on to what was actually going on at the time. So it's not, for lack of a better term, far outside the realm of possibility, just that part of it, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, whole Wonder Woman thing and her being immune to it and whatever, yes. But I guess the whole, you know, that there was secret, you know, doctors going around and making weapons and things like that as well. So
yeah, we saw one of them earlier.
I mean, this mustard gas literally was
Fritz. His
mustard
name was
gas
goddamn
literally
Fritz.
was happening. So,
Was
I
his
think
first
I
name
liked
Fritz?
that.
His first name was Fritz. Fritz Harbour.
Fritz Harbour. Okay, no,
Yeah.
he was born to be evil.
Yeah, like I think that's what I like about the movie is that it kind of expanded on stuff that was already happening, and so it made it a little bit realistic, in a way. And then it just got weird. It just got weird, and then we can't give. Can we say spoiler alert and then talk about it?
So this is, you know, future Jim interrupting here. If you'd like to skip ahead to the end of the bits where we're talking about spoilers, you can skip ahead to
34 minutes and 35 seconds.
If you'd like to hang around, feel free to do so. All right. For those leaving us, see you at
34 minutes and 35 seconds.
Anyway, spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, Steve Trevor sacrifices himself in the plane. He takes all the gas up. It was all loaded in a plane ready to kind of be distributed around the war areas, the war zones, and he sacrifices himself.
Whoa,
Chris
spoilers!
Pine. We've said spoilers, Ken. We're safe. This is a safe place.
The thing that's so disappointing about this movie is that they were quite clearly setting her character arc up for her to realise that people can be evil on their own.
Oh, yeah.
That like there doesn't have to be an Ares for people to want to kill each other. That was the point of Steve sacrificing himself at the end.
Yeah.
Is like, not only can people do horrible things to one another, but they can also do incredibly selfless things for one another.
Aww.
And that's
But
what
then,
being
no,
human
Ares
is
is
all
real.
about.
We got a big dumb bad guy to punch.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a comic book movie, so I feel like at the end they kind of had to bring him into it.
I don't know. It's just bad.
Enjoyable movie, and I think
Yeah.
the plan of it all, if that's what we're going off of and that sort of thing, then yeah, I give it a thumbs up. But I do agree. I think at the end it just became really weird when the whole fight with Ares and that sort of thing. Like it just, what are you doing?
Okay, so next one is Emma's favourite, which she's put a little emoji love heart in the show notes document. Next one is Captain America.
Ugh,
Perfect.
Chris Evans.
Right after we talk about World War II Wonder Woman, we have World War II Wonderful Man.
Yeah. And I guess this movie is probably the reason why they didn't stick with the World War II origin story for Wonder Woman.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, so movie was set in World War II, and Steve Rogers, played by Chris Evans.
Woo.
There we go. I was waiting for that. Yeah, he's he wants to fight for his country, and he's been trying to enroll himself into the military.
He's just too dang short.
Too
And
dang
he's
short.
got asthma and he's got,
Too dang
he's
weak.
not physically fit.
Yeah, problems all around. But, he's a really, really great guy. And, he's well-read, got good values, all that.
He's got heart.
He's got heart. Yes.
This is probably one of the few movies where they've had to CGI de-muscle someone.
Oh, yeah, I
but
saw
that scene where he was remuscled is so worth it.
Yes.
Oh my god.
But tell us how this is about chemical weapons, Ken.
Yes, so I believe the chemical weapon we are talking about here is the super serum, right? Yes, so we have a German scientist.
Dr. Abraham Erskine, played by Stanley Tucci.
Oh yeah, he was the good guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, so Dr. Abraham Erskine was the good guy who's researching this super serum, for a super soldier experiment, and he's been running experiments and failing, and and then this Steve Rogers was who he chose to put the super serum in to create a super soldier.
And boy was he super.
Yes.
That's America's ace.
It's America's ass.
I think I liked why he was chosen. I thought that whole thing was so sweet.
Yeah. I mean, part of the backstory is that he created Hugo Weaving.
Like the person or the character he played?
Yes. So he had tried it on somebody else before who had forced him to use it on them, and it had failed, and it made them hideous, but it had given them same power, same strength and agility and whatever as Steve Rogers.
Red Skull. Because I think it's all about, and that's why he was so cautious about who he chose the next time he was going to do it, is because he wanted to make sure the person had the right thing. And what was it? He signed him off to get him into the army, and then they threw a grenade into a bunch of them to sort of test, and they all dove out of the way, but except for him. He dived straight onto the grenade to protect everybody else, and that's when they were like,
guy.
"This guy's A-okay."
Yeah, the reason they got him in, the reason he let him in is he asked him why do you want to go overseas and kill Nazis? And he said, I don't want to go and kill Nazis. I don't like bullies. Which is
innocent.
It's weird and childish when you say it like that.
Well, he did look like a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah, he does. It's so weird to see Chris Evans like that.
Yeah, look.
He's just such an attractive man.
Oh, Jim.
I'm not blind.
I have eyes, Yeah, so I think the aim of the super serum was that they were going to help the American army, and they were going to create, a bunch of these, but scientist died, and therefore
and they also broke all the rest of the super serum that they had.
Yeah. So look, I enjoy that movie for multiple reasons. One main reason, but no, I think it's a good movie. It was a good adaptation of the comic books and stuff like that, and the origin story. It's a great origin story that kicked off the whole, I guess Marvel. Iron Man did, but I guess Captain America kind of, given the whole first Avenger and things like that. So if we're taking it that way, when that's what kicked it all off, that's what sort of started the whole thing and whatever. I think it's a good story. It's a great movie. Multiple thumbs up.
Yeah, I give it a thumbs up. It's a good plan, creating super soldiers.
Yeah. And that one super soldier went on for 20 movies to the end. So, pretty good super soldier right there.
Yeah, and I think I like that they showed
We only need one.
We only need one. And I think I liked that they showed the other side of it as well with Red Skull. That, it couldn't have just been anybody.
Yeah.
Good film.
Well, so we've just had the first Avenger movie. The next movie on the list is The Toxic Avenger.
The Toxic Avenger!
I'm very excited to talk about this movie. So I found this movie through a film critic that I like called Bob Chipman, who hosts a series on his YouTube channel every year called Schlocktober, come Halloween, where he just goes through like real schlocky movies that are just fun. And so this movie is about this kid who gets bullied in high school a lot, and he lives in the toxic chemical capital of the US, which I think is in New Jersey, of course.
Yeah, of course it is.
Of course it's Jersey. And he gets thrown into a vat of toxic chemicals by his bullies. And because, of course, he does, he gets superpowers from these toxic chemicals.
Don't try this at home, kids.
Real life toxic chemicals don't give you superpowers. They just give you the superpower of dead.
Also, if you're in Australia, just don't get bitten by a spider either.
Yeah, that doesn't work either. Trust me, I've tried. He gets dumped in a vat of toxic chemicals and he gets hideously deformed. But he gets two superpowers. The superpower of strength, and he can just tell if you're evil. Like, it's not about like, he makes a judgment call. He can just tell if you're evil. Like, he can just look at you and tell if you're evil. And so he just goes on a rampage killing evil people. It's great.
Like, it sounds like such a feel-good story. Like, I was reading the plot, I'm like, I still want to watch this movie, even with knowing the ending and everything.
So it started off as like a Friday the 13th slasher movie, but then people were like, I really identify with this character. He's doing the right thing. And so they like changed it up.
Right. Yeah, that's a no from me.
What?
It sounds terrible.
Imagine if Captain America could just tell if people were evil.
He can.
Like, you wouldn't have had Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah.
Look.
Like, he would have just been able to tell who all the Hydra people were.
He figured it out. But it wouldn't have helped down the track with the whole plot of bloody Endgame. So, look, it had to happen that way. Look, yeah, no.
Yep.
There's a thumbs down from me.
This one's a thumbs up from me. Having the ability to tell whether somebody's evil is a great superpower.
Yep. As you may have noticed from my reactions to the plot of this movie, it is also a thumbs up from me.
No, it's a thumbs down from me. It just sounds fucking terrible.
And there's a little bit about like him finding a blind lady and then they fall in love as well. It's so sweet. He's so ugly his mum kicked him out. Like, come on. Like, oh.
Thanks, Mum.
Emma, have you seen a photo of the Toxic Avenger looks like?
Look. I'm looking at the poster now.
Yeah, imagine the opposite of Captain America.
He's holding a mop. Why is he holding a mop?
Oh, that's his.
Because he's here to clean up the streets.
Jesus Christ.
And that's like his
Oh my God, he was 98 pounds of solid nerd until he became the Toxic Avenger.
I was totally gonna read that.
Jesus.
Oh, but yes.
The first superhuman hero from New Jersey.
From New Jersey.
New Jersey.
And then the next one on our list is The Insider. I think this is one you wanted to talk about, Emma?
Ah, yes. So this was a film that has Russell Crowe and Al Pacino, both fantastic
Good
guys.
start.
And it was based off I think it was a 60 Minutes episode or interview, I guess, that was never actually aired. But it centres around a guy that worked for a cigarette company and, we all know cigarettes are very poisonous and addictive. And this was, I guess, centred around the time when that was sort of becoming a lot more well known. And what he came out with is saying that, well, these companies actually know how addictive and how poisonous they are, and they're actually trying to make them more addictive than they need to be. So it's a movie, around that, and kind of the company finding out that he's trying to whistleblow, I guess, and trying to bring him down. And I thought it was a good one to add to the list because it's true. And two, I guess it kind of, we've been talking a lot about like comic books and that sort of thing, bringing it back into the real world, that it's quite interesting to think about, I guess from a chemical warfare in that regard of, well, yeah, it's still so prominent today.
Yeah.
And it's just, it kind of comes back, I guess, to what I was saying before about how, in the war and that sort of thing, and, anything goes and people just trying to harm people. And you just don't get it that, some people, even today, it's all about money.
Yeah.
And it's all about them, and it's all about, doing what's best for the man rather than what's best for the people. That they still would have been addictive. People still would have bought them, but they just had to go above and beyond.
What's interesting to see is, like, if you go and look back at the people who were, like, working on behalf of the cigarette industry at the time, the way that they talk is very similar to the way that, like, climate change deniers talk.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of times where they're like, the evidence shows that smoking during pregnancy is completely healthy. Not only that, it makes the woman have smaller babies, and don't you want that?
Do we? But I think as well, like, I mean, how cigarettes were made 50 years ago compared to how they're made now, very different. So, because I know there's so many people that are like, well, my mum, back in the day did and all this kind of stuff. And it's, maybe, but maybe also they were just one of the lucky ones. But it's just the amount of toxins and that sort of thing and tar. And I just hate seeing those ads and crap.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty
Just
yucky.
don't smoke.
So is that one I'd give that movie a thumbs up.
Yeah.
For The Insider.
I give it a thumbs up.
The plan clearly worked.
Well
Haven't
done.
seen it, but, it's tried and true, so thumbs up.
Yeah, I can definitely recommend it. It's not a bad film. And I give it a thumbs up as well. I think from a realistic point of view as well. I mean, it's true. So, well done.
Nice.
Thanks, Russell Crowe.
Fighting
around the world.
I feel like we need a better term for our plans.
Yeah, look.
So we've got, like, the dominating rating. What do we talk about? Well, like, what's a term that we can use for our plans?
Huh. Domination formulation.
Yes, I like it. Domination formulation. So why don't we move on to domination formulation, where we talk about our plans for how we'd use chemical weapons to take over the world. So why don't I go first this week?
Go for it, Jim.
Go for it, Jim.
Okay, so my plan is kind of loosely based off an episode of Black Mirror and also kind of based on an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation.
Of course it is.
So I'm going to use highly addictive drugs that are mildly hallucinogenic, but also, have a kind of tailored effect for what I want. My goal is to make an army who have undying loyalty to me and to me only, because that's what the drugs do. It makes them really, really like me, and they'll do whatever I say.
Are you okay, Jim?
I want some friends.
Is it a love potion?
No, quite the opposite.
I can just imagine the bottle now. It's just a picture of Jim's face, but like he's framing his face.
With a wink. And like
With a wink?
the Uncle Sam point as well?
No. I'm doing the thing where I like got my chin in my
Yeah,
hands.
that's what I'm picturing. Yeah.
Head cocked to the side.
Oh, God.
Big smiles and a wink.
Yep.
That's what I want.
That's what I'm picturing. Okay.
You send me a picture of that and I'll join your army.
So is this a kind? Are you thinking that this is something that they have to keep taking for it to stay in their system and things like that?
They
Like,
have to
what
keep
happens
taking,
if-
but it's highly addictive. So that's my kind of...
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I get it. And how are you going to get it to all the people? Like, how are they going to start taking it?
This is like the only flaw in my plan. What happens if they run out of drugs?
Yeah. Look.
But yeah, I have an army. An army has, field rations. Should be fairly easy to distribute the drug in field rations. The only flaw I might have is that because it's highly addictive, they might, you might have to work out some way of distributing it evenly. But I'm sure we could think of something.
Oh, wait. If you get everyone addicted to this, who are you going to take over? Like, where do you start? Is it a build an army to take over the world plan? Or is it a, get everyone to love you plan? A bit of both.
No, it's a build an army to take over the world plan.
Okay.
It's an army with undying loyalty to me personally.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay, Emma, what's your plan?
So my plan is actually loosely, I guess, based off the Batman films and the Joker's plan. Because, reading into it, and I've obviously watched a lot of Batman films, a lot of the cartoon films and that sort of thing as well. I've watched all of Gotham. But the Joker has this... Well, I guess his laughing gas or the Joker toxin is that it's basically very intense laughing gas. And like it contorts people's faces into just smiling and that sort of thing. And he just wants the world to be a better place. He just wants everybody to be happy. The Joker did nothing wrong. Right? But anyway.
It's when you grew up that you realized that the Joker is the sane one.
100%. He did nothing wrong. But anyway, so my plan is to kind of have something like that, or, as we were talking before about with the Batman 89, the poison in the makeup and things like that. But I'm thinking of same sort of tactic, I guess, but I'm the only person, it's not going to be something that, I guess, deforms people or things like that, but kind of really affects them that I'm the only one who has the antidote to it. So I guess another great film that it makes me think of that apparently I'm in love with. Every time I try and come up with one of these plans, I always come back to this movie. But The Kingsman Golden Circle.
Oh,
I think we have to set a ground rule that that's it for Kingsman Golden Circle. We can't invoke
talked about
that
it.
for a little while.
No,
That's
but it's just
third time,
like,
isn't it?
So I think I'd be taking the Batman 89 kind of thought of, you got your blimps and you got everything that are kind of releasing it. I think there'll be this massive, I'm thinking Thanksgiving Day to parades, that sort of like massive crowds releasing this toxin. I'm the only one with it, and I guess what I'm trying to take from the Golden Circle is that I'm off somewhere else, and basically holding the world for ransom is where I'm going with this. That I'm the only one, and exactly what I want from the world. Look, I don't know quite yet, but that is my plan. I think it is about. I think you got to be quick. You got to get a whole bunch of people all at once, and yeah, I'm the only one who has the antidote.
Interesting.
And maybe it will be a bit of a laughing gas kind of one that people are just smiling and people just seem really happy, and then they're like, "What is this great toxin? Get it in me!" And then like 2 minutes later, it's like, "Oh shit."
I feel like if people see somebody dying within 2 minutes, they're not going to be like,
look, stop poking holes in it.
get that into me.
Look, it all happens pretty quick, but that's, I guess, yeah, that would be my plan.
Okay. Ken, what's your plan?
Ooh, my plan. Let's see. So, my plan is to invent the most amazing sleeping pill in the world. So, no side effects. Gives you a perfect 8 hours of sleep.
I'm in.
You're knocked out. And then, I'm just going to introduce this to the market, get as many people onto it as possible. And everyone will be like, oh my God, it's sleeping for 8 hours? That's great, And then there'll be whenever I want to do anything sneaky, I release another gas cloud or a chemical in the air that would increase the potency 3 times and make them sleep for a whole day. It's like a medically induced coma.
And then you finally have some goddamn peace and quiet.
Exactly. And I might rob a bank or something. I don't know.
Just while everybody's sleeping.
While everyone's sleeping. But yes,
right.
I feel like I've improved the sleep health of everyone. Increase general well-being. So I've done a good thing. So I deserve $1 or $2.
What?
Maybe I'll leave a few like-minded people unaffected, and then we can work together and change the world together. Woo!
I like the fact that your plan involves getting billions of people hooked on this drug.
Yes.
And your plan is to then rob a bank.
Oh, I just realized I could just get them.
You could just extort the people. Yeah,
just cut
out the middleman. Make them pay for the drug.
Oh.
Yeah. Are they not paying for this drug?
Well.
Did you just forget about the money you'd be getting from that?
I should start charging for this. Okay, maybe I should just do that.
How can you ensure that so many people are going to get hooked on it? A lot of people don't take sleeping pills.
Good point. Maybe I should just make money off these sleeping pills and forget about the bank.
I think the way to make your plan better is sleeping pills aren't for everyone because, they make you really groggy sometimes and,
0 side effects.
Yeah, exactly. So your selling point is that it has 0 side effects. And that's how you get people hooked on it.
Yep.
I feel like there's no way to have no side effects to that. If you're basically knocking people out for 8 hours, there's no way there's not going to be any side effects. It's impossible.
Look, there will be some casualties. But that's a small price to pay for perfect sleep.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so who do we think succeeds? Who has a good plan? I'm inclined to give the award to Emma this week.
I'm also feeling Emma.
Yes. Yeah. I actually was not thinking it was going to be me. I think if we're still throwing out votes, I think I'd probably. Jim, refresh me on yours.
Army under my
right,
person.
Yeah. Just because I'd want to see how the fuck that would work, and knowing you and how you also love your personal space, I feel like you'd fucking hate it.
Oh, I would hate it.
So I kind of want it.
I'd have to have a body double.
What's Saddam Hussein style?
Yeah, like in The Dictator.
Oh God. Okay, cool. Well, thank you.
I just thought Jim, your plan is good, but I don't think you're seeing any you're not planning any further than having a massive loyal army. I get like it's like having a tool but not like going further with it. Like where will you go? I'm not sure. So I can't really imagine it. But like Emma's plan is like just getting people like affected by this, and then she's hiding in her golden circle lair. Like
I think the reason I keep going back to Golden Circle is because I can't think of another movie right now where somebody has just like an island to them fucking selves. Apparently that's what I want.
I think that that was a really good, great play by that movie. Having that amazing diner.
So if somebody else can share with me another film that has that's basically all I'm picturing in my mind. That's all I want.
Okay, well done, Emma.
Woohoo!
Woo! Congratulations, Emma.
Yay me!
Is anyone keeping tally?
I've won twice.
Ken and I have won once.
Yes. Hashtag girl power.
Hashtag cat girl power.
No. Screw you, cat.
Yes. Okay, so what are we talking about next week, guys?
I feel like mind control could be cool.
Ooh.
Mind control. Okay.
Do we think? Yeah?
Yeah, I like that.
I like mind control.
I feel like there'd be a lot of movies about it as well.
Yeah. Well, thanks for playing tonight, guys. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Congratulations again, Emma.
Woohoo. Yay me.
Hopefully next time we can have a little bit more of an upbeat episode.
Yes.
I think we're in need of one.
This one was hyper realistic.
I don't know what I was expecting, but this one was way more of a downer than I was expecting.
Yeah, look.
Yeah. It was chemical, not comical.
Yes!
Yeah.
You did it, Ken.
I did it, guys!
You made chemical weapons funny.
Did you not destroy my soul enough in this episode? You had to make it worse.
Look, you won, Emma. You got to let him get his jollies in somehow.
All right. Okay, cool.
Thanks for playing, everyone.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for listening, everyone. This has been your host, General Jim Atmosphere.
This is your host, Ken Ken.
Good night, everybody.
Okay, good.
Bye.
I'm sorry. Bye.
Thanks for listening to World Domination. You can find links to all the things we talked about, our other episodes, or leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/worlddomination. If you'd prefer to give us feedback in text form, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or email worlddompod@gmail.com. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to tell your mum about it.